I'm here to help you. Are you all right?
At 12:03 a.m., Malik Carter thought he was just starting another quiet night shift at the historic Grandview Hotel. But behind the laundry carts, a barefoot heiress in a torn designer gown was about to shatter both their worlds forever. What began as a simple act of kindness would spiral into a love story that defied every rule of class and society, threatening Malik's job, his son's safety, and everything he'd built since his wife's death. But when a leaked photograph exposed their secret romance to the world, turning them into tabloid headlines overnight, neither Malik nor Elise Whitmore knew that their greatest test was yet to come. The gossip blogs called it slumming. But what they didn't know was that love this real doesn't bow to money, power, or public shame. Some battles are worth fighting, even when the whole world is watching, even when everything you've ever protected hangs in the balance. If you're watching this story unfold, hit subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. Because this journey of courage, family, and choosing love over fear is just beginning. And you won't want to miss what happens when two hearts refuse to let society decide their fate. The old clock above the front desk struck 11:58 as Malik Carter pushed through the heavy glass doors of the Grandview Hotel. The marble lobby stretched out before him, quiet except for the soft hum of crystal chandeliers and the distant sound of laughter drifting down from the ballroom upstairs. He pulled his radio from his belt and checked the battery. Full charge. Good. "Evening, Carter." The day supervisor nodded as he gathered his things. "Quiet night. Big gala upstairs just wrapping up. Should be clear sailing." Malik clipped his name tag to his navy uniform jacket and adjusted his tie. 5 years he'd worked the night shift at the Grandview. 5 years of walking these halls while the city slept, making sure everything stayed safe and sound. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was steady. It paid the bills. It let him be home when Tyler woke up each morning. He started his first sweep through the lobby, checking locks and making sure no guests had left belongings behind. His footsteps echoed softly against the polished floor. The hotel had history in every corner. Old paintings of ships and lighthouses, brass fixtures that gleamed under the warm light. It felt like stepping back in time. As he rounded the corner toward the service corridors, he heard it. A soft sound, barely there, like someone trying not to breathe too loud. Malik stopped, listened. There it was again, coming from behind the tall stack of laundry carts near the staff elevator. "Hello?" His voice was gentle, non-threatening. "Everything okay back there?" A sharp intake of breath, then silence. Malik stepped closer, moving slow. "Ma'am, you hurt?" He found her crouched behind the carts, arms wrapped around her knees. A young woman in a torn evening gown, barefoot on the cold tile floor. Her dark hair had come loose from whatever fancy style it had been in. Her left wrist looked swollen. When she looked up at him, her eyes were wide and glassy. Not drunk. Scared. "I'm sorry." Her voice shook. "I just needed to breathe. I got turned around trying to find the exit." Malik kept his distance, hands visible. "You're okay. Let me help." She tried to stand and winced, favoring her left side. "Here." He pulled a folding stool from behind the supply cabinet. "Sit for a minute. You're safe." She sank onto the stool, and he could see her better now. Pretty, maybe his age. Her dress looked expensive, the kind of thing people wore to the fancy parties upstairs. But it was torn at the shoulder, and there were scrapes on her arms. "What happened to your wrist?" He asked it soft, like he was talking to Tyler after a nightmare. "I fell. On the stairs." She touched the swollen skin gently. "I was trying to leave, and my heel caught on my dress." Malik nodded toward the first aid station mounted on the wall. Mind if I get you some ice? And maybe some water? You don't have to. It's no trouble. He filled a small bag with ice from the machine and wrapped it in a clean towel. Brought her a bottle of water from the staff refrigerator. When he handed them over, she looked up at him with something like surprise. Thank you. Malik. He touched his name tag. I work security here. You're safe. Elise. She pressed the ice to her wrist and took a careful sip of water. I really did just get lost. I wasn't trying to steal anything or... Hey. His voice was calm. Nobody thinks that. You were at the party upstairs? She nodded, not meeting his eyes. Big event. Lots of people. I get it if you needed some air. They sat in comfortable quiet for a minute. The ice was already helping with the swelling. Color was coming back to her face. You got kids? She asked suddenly. The question caught him off guard. One, my son Tyler, he's 6. What's his favorite bedtime story? Malik smiled. Right now? This book about a dragon who's afraid of flying. He makes me read it 3 times every night. That sounds nice. She shifted the ice pack. Routine like that. Yeah, kids need that. Helps them feel safe. Something flickered across her face. Must be nice to feel safe. Before he could ask what she meant, footsteps echoed from the main corridor. Mr. Patel, the night manager, appeared around the corner. Carter, everything all right? Yes, sir. This lady took a fall leaving the party. Just making sure she's okay. Mr. Patel looked at Elise, then at the torn dress and makeshift ice pack. His expression softened. Miss, do you need medical attention? We can call. No. She stood quickly, testing her weight on both feet. I'm fine, really. I should go. The service exit is just down this hall, Malik said. Comes out by the loading dock. Easier to catch a ride from there. She looked grateful. Thank you, both of you. As they walked toward the exit, Malik's radio crackled. Carter, you there? Here, Nia. All quiet on 2 and 3. Just finished the rounds. Copy that. Elise glanced at the radio. You're not alone here at night? Nia's our night auditor. Works the front desk. Good people. They reached the heavy metal door that led to the loading dock. Outside, the night air was cool and damp. Street lights cast long shadows across the empty parking area. You sure you're okay to get home? Malik asked. I called a car. Should be here soon. She looked back at the hotel, then at him. I really can't thank you enough. You didn't have to help. Course I did. That's what people do. She studied his face in the dim light. Not all people. Before he could ask what she meant by that, a pair of headlights swept across the lot. A black sedan pulled up to the curb. That's me. She started toward the car, then turned back. Malik? Yeah? Your son's lucky to have someone who thinks about making him feel safe. And then she was gone, sliding into the back seat of the sedan. Malik watched the red taillights disappear around the corner, then headed back inside to finish his rounds. But he couldn't shake the feeling that there had been more to her story. Something about the way she'd asked about Tyler, about feeling safe, like those were foreign concepts to her. At 12:42, he locked the first aid cabinet and made a note in the log. Guest assistance, minor injury, no follow-up needed. Simple, clean, the kind of entry that wouldn't raise questions. He was walking back to the front desk when his radio buzzed again. Carter. Yeah, Nia? You see that car come back? Malik looked up. Through the tall windows facing the street, he could see the same black sedan idling at the curb. I see it. The passenger door opened, and Elise stepped out. She stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up at the hotel. Even from this distance, He could tell she was shaking. Malik was already moving toward the door when his radio crackled again. "She's coming back in," Nia said softly. The glass doors opened and Elise stepped into the lobby. Her arms were wrapped around herself, and she looked smaller somehow, fragile. "I'm sorry," she said when she saw Malik approaching. "I know this is weird, but the driver kept circling back to the main entrance. There are still cars there, people. You don't want to be seen." She nodded. "Something happened at that party?" Her laugh was bitter. "You could say that." Malik glanced toward the front desk where Nia was watching with concern. Then he made a decision. "Come on. Staff lounge is quiet. You can sit for a while." "I don't want to get you in trouble." "You won't." The staff lounge was a small room with a couch, a table, and a vending machine that hummed softly in the corner. Malik turned the overhead lights off and left just the soft glow from the vending machine display. "Better?" Elise sank onto the couch with a sigh. "Much." He rewrapped her wrist with fresh ice and brought her another bottle of water. When he sat down in the chair across from her, she looked so tired he thought she might fall asleep right there. "You want to talk about what happened?" For a long moment, she just stared at the vending machine. Then, "Have you ever felt like your whole life was planned out for you? Like you were just going through the motions of being yourself?" Malik thought about that. "Sometimes, after my wife died, people kept telling me what I should do, how I should grieve, how I should raise Tyler. Like they knew better than I did what my own life should look like." "Your wife died?" "Cancer, 2 years ago." "I'm sorry." "Thank you." He paused. "What about you? Someone planning your life for you?" She touched the torn shoulder of her dress. "My engagement party was tonight, upstairs in the ballroom." "Congratulations." "Don't." Her voice was sharp, then she caught herself. "I'm sorry. It's not a celebration. It's a business deal. My mother arranged the whole thing. The marriage, I mean. Grant's family has money. My family has money. Together, we'll have more money." She looked up at him. "That's not love, is it?" Malik thought about coming home to his empty apartment each night, about how quiet it got after Tyler went to bed, about the way his chest still ached sometimes when he remembered his wife's laugh. "No," he said, "that's not love." "I overheard Grant tonight, talking to his friends about sealing the merger, about how lucky he was to land the Whitmore girl, like I was a prize he'd won." Her hands clenched into fists. "I felt so small, like I wasn't even a person." "You are a person, your own person. You get to choose what your life looks like." She looked at him like he'd said something revolutionary. "Do I?" "Yeah, you do." They sat in comfortable silence while the vending machine hummed its quiet song. After a while, her breathing evened out and her eyes drifted closed. Malik checked his watch. 2:15 in the morning. He should do another sweep of the building, but he didn't want to leave her alone. Something about the way she'd been shaking, the lost look in her eyes. It reminded him of Tyler after a bad dream, like she needed to know someone safe was nearby. He pulled out his phone and texted Nia. "Everything quiet up there?" "All good. Mr. Patel said to let her rest. Guest safety and all that." Malik smiled. Good old Patel. By the book on most things, but he had a heart. Around 3 in the morning, Malik stepped out to the roof for a quick sweep. The city was spread out below, streetlights twinkling like fallen stars. The harbor stretched dark and endless to the east, and just above the horizon, the sky was starting to turn from black to deep purple. When he came back down, Elise was awake, sitting up on the couch with her shoes in her lap. feel better? Much, thank you. She slipped her shoes on and stood. I should go. I've imposed enough. You haven't imposed anything. Your kindness is going to get you in trouble someday. Malik smiled. Tyler says the same thing. At the mention of his son, her whole face changed, softened. He sounds smart. Too smart sometimes. Malik hesitated then. You want to see something before you go? He led her up the narrow service stairs to the roof. The city was waking up slowly, a few early delivery trucks, the distant hum of the highway. But mostly, it was quiet. Peaceful. Oh! Elise stepped to the edge and looked out over the water. It's beautiful. The horizon was pink and gold now, the sun just beginning to show itself above the waves. The whole world looked soft and new. I come up here sometimes when the nights get long, Malik said. Reminds me that morning always comes. They stood side by side, watching the sun climb higher. And for the first time since he'd found her behind those laundry carts, Elise laughed, a real laugh, full of surprise and delight. Thank you, she said, for all of it, for seeing me as a person. That's all you've ever been. When the sun was fully up, painting the water gold, Elise turned to him. I need to ask you for one more favor. Sure. Don't get in trouble for this, for helping me. Whatever story people tell about tonight, promise me you'll keep your job. Tyler needs you. I promise. She reached into her small purse and pulled out a business card, wrote something on the back. If you ever need anything at all. Malik took the card. On the front, elegant lettering. Elise Whitmore, Whitmore Foundation. On the back, in careful handwriting, thank you for finding the quiet. The elevator ride down was silent, but it was a comfortable kind of quiet. When they reached the lobby, Elise looked around like she was seeing it for the first time. Goodbye, Malik. Goodbye, Elise. He watched her walk through the glass doors and get into a different car, a simple gray sedan, instead of the fancy black one. As it pulled away, she looked back through the window and gave him a small wave. Malik stood in the lobby as the morning light grew stronger. He thought about Tyler, probably just waking up in his race car bed, about breakfast and the morning cartoons they'd watch together before Tyler got ready for school. His phone buzzed, a text from Nia. You're a good man, Carter. He typed back, just doing my job. But as he clocked out and headed to his car, he knew it had been more than that. Sometimes being human meant seeing another human who needed help. It was as simple and as complicated as that. The drive home was quiet, the city waking up around him. Coffee shops opening their doors, joggers starting their morning runs, kids waiting at bus stops with backpacks bigger than they were. Normal life, good life. When he pulled into his parking space at the apartment complex, Malik felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Like maybe the world was a little bigger than he'd remembered, a little more full of possibility. He thought about Elise's laugh on the rooftop, about the way her whole face had changed when the sun came up, about how sometimes helping someone else find their way helped you remember your own path too. Tyler was still asleep when Malik got home, curled up under his dinosaur comforter with one arm hanging off the bed. Malik sat on the edge of the mattress for a moment, watching his son's peaceful face. Love you, buddy, he whispered. Then he went to make coffee and start another day. Malik woke up at 6:30 to the sound of Tyler's feet hitting the floor in the next room. Same as every morning. His son was an early riser, just like his mother had been. Dad? Dad? You home? I'm here, T. Malik rolled out of bed and padded to the kitchen in his pajama pants. Tyler was already at the table, still in his Batman pajamas, hair sticking up in 3 different directions. "Did you catch any bad guys last night?" Malik smiled and started the coffee maker. "No bad guys. Just helped someone who got lost." "Was it scary?" "Nope. Sometimes people just need a little help finding their way." Tyler nodded seriously, like this made perfect sense. At 6 years old, his world was still simple. People were either good or bad. Help was always the right choice, and every problem had a solution if you thought about it hard enough. If only it stayed that easy. Malik was pouring cereal when he noticed the small white envelope that had been slipped under their front door. His name was written on it in careful handwriting. "What's that?" Tyler asked, crunching his Cheerios. "Not sure." Malik opened the envelope. Inside was a folded note and something wrapped in tissue paper. The note was short. "Thank you for finding the quiet. I hope your son enjoys this. E." The tissue paper held a children's book. Tyler's eyes went wide when he saw the cover, a beautiful illustration of a small dragon sitting on a cliff, looking out at a sky full of clouds. "The brave little dragon," Tyler read slowly, sounding out each word. "Dad, look, he looks scared." Malik sat down next to his son and opened to the first page. The story was about a young dragon who was afraid to fly, even though all the other dragons made it look easy. But when his friend got stuck on a tall mountain, the little dragon found the courage to try. "Can we read it tonight?" Tyler asked. "Course we can." Tyler hugged the book to his chest. "Is the lady who gave it nice?" Malik thought about Elise on the rooftop, watching the sunrise with wonder in her eyes. About how she'd asked if Tyler felt safe, like it was something precious and rare. "Yeah, T, she's nice." After Tyler left for school, Malik sat at their small kitchen table with his second cup of coffee and looked at the note again. "Thank you for finding the quiet." It was an odd phrase, but something about it felt familiar, important. His phone buzzed with a text from Nia. "You see the news?" Malik frowned and pulled up a local news site. There it was, 3rd story down. "Whitmore Hale engagement celebration ends early." He clicked the link. The article was short, mostly about how the engagement party for Elise Whitmore and Grant Hale had been concluded ahead of schedule due to a family matter. There was a photo of the two families, the Whitmores and the Hales, all smiles and expensive clothes. But Elise wasn't smiling. Even in the formal pose, she looked trapped. Malik closed the browser and put his phone away. Whatever had happened at that party, whatever had sent her running to hide behind laundry carts, it was her business. All he'd done was offer help when someone needed it. That's what he told himself anyway. But 3 days later, when he was walking to his car after his shift, he found her sitting on the hood of an old Honda Civic in the parking lot. "Hey," she said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Hey yourself." He stopped a few feet away, keys in his hand. "Everything okay? I wanted to thank you, in person, for the other night." She looked different in daylight, younger somehow. She wore jeans and a simple blue sweater, her dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry, just a regular person sitting on a regular car. "You already thanked me, with the note and the book. Tyler loves it, by the way." "Good. I hoped he would." She slid off the hood. "I also wanted to apologize for involving you in my mess." "What mess?" "The engagement's off." Malik studied her face. She didn't look upset about it. If anything, she looked relieved. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. Best decision I've made in years." She kicked at a small stone with her sneaker. "Turns out calling off a society wedding causes quite a stir." I bet. My mother's not speaking to me. Grant's family is threatening legal action over the cost of the party. The whole thing's a nightmare. She looked up at him. But I keep thinking about what you said. About being my own person. About getting to choose what my life looks like. Still true. Yeah, it is. She smiled, and it was the real smile he'd seen on the rooftop. So I chose. No more arranged marriages. No more doing what looks good on paper. Just me. That's brave. Or stupid. I haven't decided yet. She gestured toward his apartment building. You live here? 3rd floor, unit 312. Nice neighborhood. Quiet. Good for Tyler. Good schools. Park down the street. Libraries close by. Something flickered across her face when he mentioned Tyler. He's lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have him. They stood in the parking lot as the morning got warmer around them. Other tenants were leaving for work, starting their cars, beginning their days. Normal life happening all around them. I should let you get some sleep, Elise said, finally. Yeah, probably should. But neither of them moved. Malik? Yeah? Would it be weird if I said I missed talking to you? That night at the hotel, it was the first real conversation I'd had in months. Maybe years. He thought about that, about how easy it had been to talk to her, even though they were strangers. About how she'd listened when he talked about Tyler, like his son mattered to her too. Wouldn't be weird at all. Good. She started toward her car, then turned back. Maybe we could do it again sometime. Talk, I mean, if you want. I'd like that. Me too. After she drove away, Malik stood in the parking lot for a long time. He thought about the way she'd said Tyler was lucky to have him, about how she'd looked when she talked about choosing her own life, about how long it had been since he'd had a real conversation with anyone who wasn't 6 years old or his coworker. Inside his apartment, he put the business card with her number on it on the refrigerator, held there by a magnet shaped like a dinosaur that Tyler had picked out. Then he went to bed and slept better than he had in weeks. 2 days later, Elise texted him. Is it too forward to ask if you and Tyler want to have dinner? I make a mean spaghetti, and I'd love to hear more about that dragon book. Malik stared at the message for a full minute before typing back. Tyler would love that. Fair warning, though. He talks a lot about dinosaurs. Perfect. I love dinosaurs. That Saturday evening, Malik found himself standing outside Elise's apartment building with Tyler bouncing beside him and a bottle of sparkling cider in his hand. Is this where the book lady lives? Tyler asked for the 3rd time. This is it. Do you think she has more books? I think that's a safe bet. Elise lived in a small apartment complex on the other side of town. Nothing fancy, but clean and well-maintained. When she opened the door, Tyler immediately hid behind Malik's legs. Hey there, she said, crouching down to Tyler's level. You must be Tyler. I'm Elise. Tyler peeked out from behind Malik. Did you really give me the dragon book? I did. Did you like it? It's my favorite now. Dad read it to me 4 times. 4 times? Elise looked impressed. That's a lot of dragon. Tyler giggled and stepped out from behind Malik. Do you want to see my dinosaur? He pulled a small plastic T-Rex from his pocket and held it up proudly. Wow, that's a great T-Rex. What's his name? Rexy. He's not very creative with names, Tyler said seriously. Elise laughed. I think Rexy is a perfect name. Her apartment was small but cozy. Books everywhere, plants on every windowsill, a couch that looked like it came from a thrift store but was covered with the softest blankets Malik had ever felt. It felt like a home, not a showroom. I hope you guys are hungry, she said, leading them to the kitchen. I may have made enough spaghetti for 10 people. The kitchen, Smelled like garlic and basil, and something warm and comforting that reminded Malik of Sunday dinners when he was a kid. Tyler climbed onto one of the stools at the small breakfast bar and immediately started telling Elise about every dinosaur he knew. And the Triceratops has 3 horns, see? That's why it's called Triceratops, because tri means 3 and... Elise listened to every word, asking questions and acting like Tyler's dinosaur facts were the most fascinating things she'd ever heard. When she handed him a piece of garlic bread, Tyler looked at Malik with wide eyes. "She's really nice, Dad." "Yeah, buddy, she is." Over dinner, they talked about everything and nothing. Tyler told Elise about his school, his teacher Mrs. Patterson, and his best friend Marcus, who was also 6 but knew how to whistle. Elise told them about the bookstore where she'd bought the Dragon book, about how she'd worked there part-time in college and fell in love with the children's section. "I always wanted to write kids' books," she admitted, twirling spaghetti around her fork. "Stories about brave little creatures who discover they're stronger than they think." "Like the dragon," Tyler said through a mouthful of pasta. "Exactly like the dragon." After dinner, Tyler curled up on the couch with Rexy while the adults cleaned dishes. Malik found himself standing next to Elise at the sink, drying plates while she washed. "Thank you for this," he said quietly. "Tyler doesn't get a lot of, I don't know, female attention since his mom died. Thank you for coming. I don't get a lot of any kind of attention that feels real." Their hands brushed as he took a plate from her, and for a moment, they both went still. Then Tyler called from the living room. "Elise, can you read the Dragon book with the voice?" "The voice?" she asked. "You know," Tyler said impatiently. "The scared voice when the dragon's afraid, and the brave voice when he decides to fly." Elise looked at Malik, who shrugged and smiled. "You started it. Now you have to finish it." So she read the Dragon book with all the voices, squeaky for the scared parts, deep and dramatic for the brave parts, soft and gentle for the ending when the little dragon realizes he was brave all along. Tyler listened with rapt attention, occasionally offering suggestions. "Make the wind sound more windy," he'd say. Or, "I think the other dragons should sound nicer." By 8 o'clock, Tyler was yawning between dinosaur facts. Malik gathered their things while Elise walked them to the door. "Thank you," Malik said again. "This was really nice." "For me too." She looked down at Tyler, who was leaning against his dad's leg with heavy eyes. "Maybe we could do it again sometime?" "I'd like that." "Me too." As they walked to the car, Tyler looked up at Malik with sleepy eyes. "Dad?" "Yeah, buddy?" "I like the book lady. She listens good." Malik buckled Tyler into his car seat and thought about that. About how Elise had listened to Tyler's dinosaur stories like they were the most important things in the world. About how she'd made them both feel welcome in her space. About how long it had been since anyone had listened to him that way either. On the drive home, Tyler fell asleep in the back seat, clutching Rexy in one hand. Malik glanced in the rearview mirror at his son's peaceful face and felt something shift in his chest. Something that had been closed off for 2 years, locked away in the name of being careful, of protecting Tyler, of not risking their small, safe world. But maybe safe didn't have to mean alone. Maybe letting someone in didn't have to mean letting everything fall apart. When he carried Tyler up to their apartment, his phone buzzed with a text from Elise. "Thank you for sharing your son with me. He's wonderful. You're doing an amazing job." Malik smiled and typed back, "Thank you for listening to him. And for the spaghetti? And for the voices." "Anytime." As he tucked Tyler into bed, his son mumbled sleepily, "Can we see Elise again soon?" "Maybe, T. We'll see." "Good. I think she needs friends, like me and Marcus." Out of the mouths of babes, Malik thought. Maybe Tyler was right. Maybe they all needed friends. Maybe that's how it started, not with grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but with spaghetti dinner and dragon voices and the simple recognition that everyone needs someone to listen, someone to see them as they really are, someone to remind them that it's okay to be brave. The trouble started with a photograph. Malik had been working the night shift for 2 weeks since that first dinner at Elise's apartment. They'd fallen into an easy routine, texting during the day, occasional dinners together, trips to the park with Tyler. Nothing dramatic. Just 3 people getting to know each other. It felt good, natural, like pieces of a puzzle clicking into place. Tyler had started asking when they could see Miss Elise again every morning over breakfast. She'd become a fixture in their conversations, in their small world. And Malik found himself looking forward to her texts, to the sound of her laugh when Tyler told his dinosaur jokes, to the way she looked at both of them like they were something precious. He should have known it was too good to last. Carter. Mr. Patel's voice was tight when Malik walked into the hotel that Thursday night. My office. Now. Nia shot him a worried look from behind the front desk. In 5 years, Patel had never sounded like that. The office was small and cramped, barely big enough for a desk and 2 chairs. Patel closed the door and sat heavily in his chair. We have a problem. He turned his computer screen toward Malik. On it was a gossip blog post with a headline that made Malik's stomach drop. Millionaire Heiress's secret romance with hotel employee? Below the headline was a photo. Malik and Elise at the park last weekend, Tyler on the swings between them. Someone had taken it with a long lens from across the street. The image was grainy but clear enough. Elise laughing at something Tyler had said, Malik's hand on her shoulder. They looked like a family. When were you going to tell me about this? Patel asked. Malik's mouth went dry. It's not what it looks like. What it looks like is one of my employees having a personal relationship with a guest. What it looks like is a potential lawsuit if the Whitmore family decides we're not maintaining proper professional boundaries. She was never really a guest, Mr. Patel. She just needed help that night. That night when you let her sleep in our staff lounge without proper authorization? Malik had forgotten about that detail. In the log, he'd written it up as a safety observation. Standard procedure. But if someone wanted to make trouble? I followed protocol. Nia was there. You approved it. I approved helping someone who was injured. I didn't approve you starting a relationship with her. We're friends, that's all. Patel looked at the photo again. The blog is calling it a lot more than friendship. They're saying she's been slumming since her broken engagement. That she's having some kind of rebellion against her family by dating the help. The words hit Malik like a physical blow. Dating the help. Like he was something to be ashamed of. I need to ask you directly, Patel continued. Are you romantically involved with Elise Whitmore? Malik thought about the way Elise had touched his hand when Tyler fell asleep on her couch 3 nights ago. About how they'd almost kissed when she walked him to the door, stopping only because Tyler woke up asking for water. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Fast. Patel's voice was gentler now, but firm. I like you, Carter. You're good at your job. You're reliable. And you've been through enough. But I can't protect you if the Whitmore family decides to make this a problem. What are you saying? I'm saying be careful, very careful. Because if this becomes a bigger story, if it reflects poorly on the hotel, I'll have no choice but to let you go. Malik walked out of the office, feeling like he'd been punched in the gut. The rest of his shift passed in a blur of routine tasks and worried glances from Nia. At 6 a.m., his phone rang. Elise. Malik, I'm so sorry. Have you seen? I've seen it. I don't know how they got that photo. I was so careful. I thought we were being careful. Apparently, not careful enough. There was silence on the other end of the line. When she spoke again, her voice was small. Are you angry at me? Malik rubbed his eyes. He was tired. More than tired. No, I'm not angry at you. But this is a problem, Elise. My boss basically threatened to fire me. I'll fix it. I'll call the hotel. I'll talk to Mr. Patel. That'll just make it worse. Rich girl calling to save her boyfriend's job? That's exactly the story they want to write. Then what do we do? Malik looked out the window at the morning traffic, at all the people heading to their normal jobs where they didn't have to worry about gossip blogs or family scandals. I don't know. He hung up and drove home in silence. Tyler was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table with his dragon book open in front of him. Dad, can we call Miss Elise today? I want to tell her about the butterfly I saw at school yesterday. Malik sat down across from his son and tried to find the right words. How do you explain to a 6-year-old that sometimes the world is cruel to people for no good reason? Maybe not today, buddy. Why not? Is she sick? No, she's not sick. It's just complicated grown-up stuff. Tyler's face scrunched up in confusion. Did you have a fight? No fight. Just, some people are saying mean things about Miss Elise and me being friends. What kind of mean things? Malik thought about the blog post, about phrases like dating the help and slumming, about how his relationship with Elise was being treated like some kind of joke, the kind of mean things that could get Daddy in trouble at work. Tyler was quiet for a long moment, processing this. Finally, he said, That's stupid. Yeah, buddy, it is. Miss Elise is nice. You're nice. Why do people care if nice people are friends? I wish I knew. Tyler closed his book and climbed into Malik's lap. Are you sad? A little. Me too. Tyler hugged him tight. I like Miss Elise. She makes you smile more. And that was the worst part, because Tyler was right. Elise did make him smile more. She made them both happier, and now that happiness felt dangerous. Malik's phone buzzed with a text from his late wife's mother. Saw something online. Call me. His stomach dropped. If Denise had seen the blog post, that meant Tyler's grandparents were now involved. And while they'd been supportive since their daughter's death, they'd also been protective. Worried about Tyler's stability. About Malik's ability to provide a safe, consistent environment. He called back during Tyler's afternoon nap. Hi, Denise. Malik, honey. Her voice was careful, controlled. I saw an article online about you and some woman. It's blown out of proportion. Is it? Because the article made it sound pretty serious. And Malik, I have to ask, is this someone Tyler's met? Yes, but, honey, I'm not judging. You deserve to be happy. But Tyler's been through so much, and if you're getting involved with someone who brings this kind of attention. She's a good person, Denise. She's great with Tyler. I'm sure she is. But the article mentioned her family, rich people, high society. That's not our world, Malik. That's not Tyler's world. Since when do we judge people by their family's money? Since that money comes with photographers and gossip blogs that put pictures of my grandson on the internet without permission. Malik's blood went cold. What do you mean? The photo, Malik. Tyler's in it. Face clearly visible. Now everyone who reads that blog knows what he looks like, where you spend time as a family. He hadn't thought about that, hadn't considered that Tyler's privacy had been violated too. I want to see him this weekend, Denise continued. Jim and I both do. We want to make sure he's okay, that all this drama isn't affecting him. Of course, you can see him anytime, you know that. Good. We'll pick him up Saturday morning. After she hung up, Malik sat in his quiet apartment and tried to think. The blog post was one thing, but if Tyler's grandparents started to worry about his judgment, about his ability to keep Tyler safe and out of the spotlight, they'd been talking about moving to Florida for months, getting away from the cold winters, being closer to Jim's brother. They'd mentioned taking Tyler with them for a while after the funeral, giving Malik time to figure things out. He'd said no then, but if they thought Tyler wasn't safe. His phone rang. Elise again. "Please don't hang up," she said before he could speak. "I'm not going to hang up. I talked to my mother. She says she can make the blog take down the article. Issue a retraction. Can she make them take back everyone who already read it? Malik, please, let me fix this." "How? By having Mommy clean up your mess? That just proves their point." "What point?" "That we're from different worlds. That this was never going to work." Silence. Then, quietly, "Is that what you believe?" Malik looked around his small apartment, at Tyler's toys scattered on the floor, at the stack of bills on the counter, at the picture of his late wife on the shelf. Real life. Complicated and messy, and nothing like the fairy tale world where rich girls fell for working guys, and everyone lived happily ever after. "I think I believe that some things are too hard," he said finally. "So that's it? We give up because it's hard?" "We give up because Tyler's grandparents are worried about his safety, because my boss threatened my job, because I can't afford to lose either of those things. And because you're scared." "Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared of what happens to Tyler if I mess this up." "Malik, I need some space, Elise. I need to think." "How much space?" "I don't know. Just space." When he hung up, the apartment felt smaller than ever. Tyler would wake up from his nap soon, and Malik would have to figure out how to explain why Miss Elise wouldn't be coming over for dinner anymore. Why they wouldn't be going to the park together on weekends. Why sometimes, even when good things happen, they don't get to keep them. His phone buzzed with a text. "I love you, both of you. That doesn't change because some strangers wrote mean things about us." Malik stared at the message for a long time. She loved him. She'd said it, even though he'd been a coward on the phone, even though he was pushing her away to protect himself. But love wasn't always enough, was it? Love didn't pay rent or keep jobs or protect 6-year-old boys from having their pictures posted on gossip blogs. Sometimes love just made everything hurt more. He turned his phone face down and went to wake up Tyler. Time to start figuring out how to build their small, safe world back up again, even if it meant building it alone. For 3 days, Malik felt like he was walking underwater. Everything was muffled and slow. Tyler kept asking about Miss Elise, and each time Malik had to come up with another excuse. She was busy. She was traveling. She had work to do. Tyler didn't buy any of it. "Did Miss Elise decide she doesn't like dinosaurs anymore?" he asked Thursday morning over cereal. "No, buddy. She still likes dinosaurs." "Then why doesn't she want to see us?" Malik set down his coffee cup and looked at his son's worried face. "It's not that she doesn't want to see us. Sometimes grown-ups have to make hard choices." "What kind of hard choices?" "How do you explain social pressure to a 6-year-old? How do you tell him that some people think his dad isn't good enough for a woman like Elise? The kind that keep people safe." Tyler considered this seriously. "Is Miss Elise not safe?" "Miss Elise is fine." "Are we not safe?" Malik reached across the table and ruffled Tyler's hair. "We're safe, T. We're always safe." But as he said it, he wondered if that was really true anymore. Friday night at work was quiet. Too quiet. Malik found himself thinking about that first night, when he'd found Elise behind the laundry carts. How scared she'd looked. How grateful she'd been for simple kindness. "You're brooding," Nia said, appearing next to him at the front desk with 2 cups of coffee. "I'm working." "You're standing in one spot staring at nothing. That's brooding." She handed him a cup. "Want to talk about it?" "Not much to say. Rich girl, poor guy. Story's as old as time." "That's not the story and you know it." "What story is it then?" Nia leaned against the desk. "It's the story of a guy who's been scared to live his life for 2 years. Who finally found someone who made him remember what happiness felt like. And now, he's letting fear win." "It's not about fear. Isn't it?" She gave him a look. "Malik, I've worked with you for 3 years. I watched you shut down after Sarah died. I watched you build walls around yourself and Tyler so high, nobody could get in. And then this woman shows up, and suddenly, you're laughing again. Tyler's laughing again. You both looked lighter. And look how that turned out. A gossip blog wrote something mean. So what? People write mean things on the internet every day. This isn't just internet trolls, Nia. This is my job. Tyler's stability. His grandparents are already worried." "About what? That you're dating someone who makes you happy?" "About the attention. The photographers. The fact that Tyler's picture is now on some website for strangers to see." Nia was quiet for a moment. Then, "You know what I think? Do I have a choice? I think you're using Tyler as an excuse because you're scared of getting hurt again." Malik started to protest, but she held up her hand. "I'm not saying you don't want to protect him. I know you do, but Tyler was happy too." "Did you think about that? Did you think about what he wants?" Before Malik could answer, his phone rang. Tyler's school. "Mr. Carter, this is Mrs. Patterson, Tyler's teacher." Malik's blood went cold. "Is he okay?" "He's fine, but there was an incident today. Some parents saw the online article about you and they had questions. Tyler overheard some of the conversation and got upset." "What kind of upset?" "He got very quiet, wouldn't participate in activities. At recess, he told another student that his dad was in trouble because he made friends with a nice lady." Malik closed his eyes. "I'll talk to him." "Mr. Carter, for what it's worth, I think Tyler's lucky to have you. And if you've found someone who makes you both happy, that's nobody else's business." After he hung up, Nia was looking at him with sympathy. "Kids at school?" "Parents at school." Tyler overheard them talking. "That's awful. But Malik, that's not Elise's fault. That's just people being people." "Maybe. But the result is the same. Tyler gets hurt. Tyler gets hurt because you're keeping him away from someone he cares about too." Malik wanted to argue, but he couldn't, because Nia was right. Tyler had been asking about Elise every day, had been sadder since she stopped coming around. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Denise Carter. Can you please call me? It's about Tyler." Malik's heart rate spiked. "I have to take this." He stepped outside to call Tyler's grandmother back. "Denise?" "Oh, Malik, thank goodness, I've been worried sick." "What's wrong? Is Tyler okay?" "He's fine. He's here with us for the weekend, remember? But Malik, he's been asking about Elise all day. He wants to know why she can't come to dinner anymore, why you look sad all the time." "I'm handling it." "Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you ended things with someone Tyler cares about because of what some strangers might think." This wasn't what Malik had expected. "I thought you were worried about the attention, the photographers." "I was. I am. But Jim and I have been talking and, honey, we've never seen Tyler this happy. Not since before Sarah got sick, and we've never seen you this happy either. But the blog post is garbage, written by people who don't know you or Tyler or what kind of man you are." Her voice was firm. Malik, I loved my daughter, but Sarah would be furious if she knew you were passing up a chance at love because you were afraid of what people might say. Malik felt tears prick at his eyes. Denise, that little boy in there keeps talking about how Miss Elise listens to him, how she does voices when she reads, how she makes pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. Her voice gentled. Those aren't the stories of someone who's using you for attention. Those are the stories of someone who loves you both. I know she does. Then what are you doing? I'm trying to protect him. From what? From having more people in his life who love him? After he hung up, Malik sat in his car in the hotel parking lot for a long time. He thought about Tyler's questions. About Elise's text saying she loved them both. About how empty their apartment had felt for the past 3 days. About how maybe protecting Tyler didn't mean keeping everyone out. Maybe it meant being brave enough to let the right people in. His phone rang again. This time, it was a number he recognized. Hello, Mr. Carter. This is Vivian Whitmore, Elise's mother. Malik's stomach dropped. Mrs. Whitmore. I was wondering if we could meet for coffee. I think we need to have a conversation. About what? About my daughter. About the choices we're both making that are hurting people we care about. They met at a small cafe downtown, the kind of place Malik went for quick lunch breaks. Vivian Whitmore looked out of place in her expensive suit and designer handbag, but she'd chosen the meeting spot. Thank you for coming, she said when he sat down across from her. I'm not sure why I'm here. You're here because Elise has been crying for 3 days. Because she loves you and your son more than she's ever loved anything, and she's convinced she's ruined your life. Malik studied her face. And you want me to stay away from her? Actually, I want the opposite. That wasn't what he'd expected. Vivian sipped her coffee and looked out the window. I've spent Elise's whole life trying to control everything. Who she dated, what she studied, who she married. I thought I was protecting her. I thought I knew what was best. But I've never seen her as happy as she was these past few weeks. Talking about Tyler's dinosaur facts, about your quiet Sunday mornings, about how you both made her feel like she belonged somewhere. She looked back at him. That's not something you can arrange or control. That's something real. The blog post will die down, they always do. But if you let fear drive away something real because of temporary gossip, you'll regret it forever. It's not just gossip. It affects my job, Tyler's stability. Then let me help. How? Vivian leaned forward. I have lawyers, good ones. If your job is threatened because of your personal life, that's discrimination. If photographers harass you, that's invasion of privacy. I can make those problems go away. I don't need you to fight my battles. I'm not fighting your battles. I'm fighting for my daughter's happiness. There's a difference. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Vivian said, Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you love her? The question was simple. The answer was even simpler. Yes. Then stop punishing all of us for other people's ignorance. That evening, Malik sat in his apartment and thought about everything. About Tyler asking when they could see Miss Elise again. About Denise saying Sarah would be furious if he passed up love because of fear. About Vivian Whitmore offering to fight for her daughter's happiness. About how quiet his world had become without Elise in it. He picked up his phone and texted her. Can we talk? She called back immediately. Malik? Hi? I've missed you, missed talking to you. I've missed you too. We both have. Tyler's okay? He's confused. Keeps asking why you don't come around anymore. What do you tell him? that grown-ups sometimes make things more complicated than they need to be. She was quiet for a moment. Then, does that mean you want to uncomplicate things? I want to try, if you'll be patient with me while I figure out how to be brave. I have all the patience in the world for you, Malik Carter. Even though this might be messy, even though people will talk, let them talk. I love you. I love Tyler. I love the way you make pancakes on Sunday morning, and the way you read dragon stories, and the way you see me as just Elise, not the Whitmore heiress. I do love you, both parts of you. Then come over. Bring Tyler when he gets back from his grandparents. Let's stop hiding from people who don't matter and start living for people who do. Saturday evening, Malik stood outside Elise's apartment building with Tyler bouncing beside him. Are we really going to see Miss Elise? Tyler asked for the 10th time. We really are. And she's not mad at us for taking so long to visit? She's not mad? Good. I brought Rexy to show her the new tricks I taught him. When Elise opened the door, Tyler launched himself at her legs in a hug that nearly knocked her over. Miss Elise, I missed you so much. Dad was sad without you, and so was I. And Rexy learned to do a backflip. Well, I help him do it, but he's very good at it. And did you know that some dinosaurs ate fish? Elise laughed and hugged him back. I missed you too, Tyler. And I definitely want to see Rexy's backflip. Over Tyler's head, her eyes met Malik's. Hi, she said softly. Hi yourself. And just like that, the world felt right again. They spent the evening on the floor of Elise's living room, watching Tyler demonstrate Rexy's new abilities and listening to his stories about school and his grandparents and everything he'd saved up to tell Miss Elise. After Tyler fell asleep on the couch, Malik and Elise sat together in the kitchen. I'm sorry, he said, for pulling away, for being scared. I'm sorry, too, for not thinking about how the attention might affect you and Tyler. We'll figure it out. Together. Together, she agreed. She reached across the small table and took his hand. I meant what I said on the phone. I love you. Both of you. I love you too. And Elise? Yeah? No more hiding. No more letting other people decide what our life should look like. She smiled. No more hiding. Outside, the city hummed with its usual Saturday night energy. But inside Elise's small apartment, with Tyler sleeping peacefully on the couch and their hands linked across the kitchen table, the world felt perfectly quiet, perfectly safe, perfectly theirs. And for the first time in 3 days, Malik believed that love really could be enough, not because it solved everything, but because it made them brave enough to face everything together. So, what happens now? Elise asked. Malik looked at Tyler, curled up with Rexy clutched in his sleeping hand, at Elise, her eyes bright with hope and determination, at the life they could build if they were brave enough to choose it. Now we live it, he said, day by day, choice by choice, together. I like the sound of that. Me too. And in the quiet of that kitchen, with love and possibility spreading out before them like sunrise over the harbor, they began.